Good morning, all of you.
Good morning.
I was keenly listening to Professor Kothari, and few words actually stuck to me. Some of them that he talked about were things like change, things like the complexity of automation, things like how does the top management have to play a critical role, things like the tip of that iceberg. What also occurred to me is to implement an ERP solution like SAP or whatever it is. It definitely requires a person well experienced, a veteran, somebody with that much of passion as Professor Kothari to be at the helm of affairs to run the project. But possibly, I have a question more fundamental to answer. Do we actually need that change? Why do we have to change at all? Indian education, for all of us that we know, is a centuries-old service. It started in the eras of Rishi Muni. I've been seeing it in Ramayana and Mahabharata as well. And Indian education runs so well and has worked so well over the years without any automation. So why do we have to automate at all? Unless we answer that question possibly, we do not know whether we are doing the right choice in selecting the ERP package, how do we construct a team, and what are the constituents of automation. If you look at it, there are a few fundamentals which are changing in the world all around us. Education managers all across the world are witnessing a very, very silent revolution. The world of education is changing. The education enterprises of this decade are being looked at more like business enterprises. If you look at the number of changes which are happening in this industry, you will see there are huge amount of corporate interest into education. The private equity funds, the venture capitalists are all looking at this industry as one of the high-rise industries. Here I have an interesting slide. This is a snapshot of a research done by my friends in KPMG. I do not know if all of you can read what's there, but then let me point out a few important words which I want to draw attention towards. The internal research report of KPMG talks about robust growth rates expected. One of the largest services market. Huge demand-supply mismatch. These are not the words we are used to in education. Higher rate of returns. Right? What it tells us all? It is not the same education which Rishi Balmiki used to do once upon a time. Right? Something is changing all around us, and we need to be aware of that change before we strategize, before we actually plan out what needs to be done. An important aspect of education over the last few years which has happened is education has become included in the gaps. So WTO is monitoring it. It says that the education industry in India has to open up to foreign collaborations for foreign institutions. There are a few advantages and disadvantages to this. The advantages, we will start seeing quality improvement because there is going to be competition coming up. The era of self-complacence will go away. There is going to be demand for better quality of service. There will be choice available to customers. Customers and consumers are the new terminologies coming out of education. Right? Professor Kothari was talking about that some time back. And hence, more accountability accountability will be introduced. Few advantages. But then, there are few disadvantages also. Let's be aware of this. To be able to ensure that we keep on meeting the continuous demands of quality, there has to be continuous investment for improvement. It will open up a new era of litigation and legal hassles. Because the consumer, if he is paid for a service and is not happy with the service, is going to be more demanding. And any delay to realize this will lead to extinction. There are a few more changes which are happening all around us. Just be aware of it. The Prime Minister actually talked about the concept of NRI universities in this country. There are a few changes which are happening all around us and we need to be aware of these changes. Private universities are coming up all around. The era of the government universities only era has possibly gone. We have started seeing foreign universities setting up offshore campuses. Recently, I heard about Oxford setting up a campus in Lavasa and some more people are coming up here, right? And if these universities, new ones, flushed with funds, are going to compete with all of us, Indian universities, Indian institutions, poaching of good staff is definitely going to happen. Right? So those universities and institutions will come with a lot of funds, they have the capacity to pay higher salaries, and this is a threat that we need to be aware of. Autonomous institutes will also flourish, and they will have flexibility of offering learning programs. Mergers and acquisitions will start taking place, and we already started seeing this happening. We've already started seeing schools being taken over by corporates, colleges being taken over by corporates, and these are things that already started happening in this country. Venture capitalists would be active, and I'm aware of a couple of funds who are dedicated to education. Some of my friends who run these funds, who have got huge amount of investment, thousands of crores available for entrepreneurs who want to set up any industry which is related to education. So they are specialized funds, which means that education is being looked at as a full-fledged business. With all these things happening, we believe that education in the coming years will behave like an open market economy. It will be the time of demand and supply. It will be the time of competition. It will be the time of consumer. And we all need to be aware of this. And hence, one more thing just to change. Education will change from a teacher-centric education, which we are all aware of, to a student-centric education. Very soon, we'll all see that the era where we taught whatever we want to teach would have gone. We'll have to teach, but the students want to learn, the type of students the industry wants, the type of skill sets the industry wants, the type of skill set which will make the students employable. And we have already started seeing this in Western worlds. And this is going to be a fundamental change in the Indian education segment. Most of our Indian universities are not equipped to handle this type of change. And we need to be aware of this type of revolution which is coming up in the world of education. And here, a statement made by one of the greatest scientists of all times, Sir Charles Darwin, comes to my mind. He said, "It is not the strongest of the species, nor the most intelligent that survives, but the one most responsive to change." Are there students of biology here? Great. Okay, so he talked about, look at the sentence, and there are a few interesting words in this. He talked about survival, and he talked about responsiveness to change. Change is definitely going to happen, and I'm sure you have heard it in so many seminars all around us. Only way to adapt to change is to change yourself. If you are responsive to change, if you are aware of the change, if we can equip ourselves to handle this change, that's the only way to fight change. He had given so many examples, how these dinosaurs came to this world and went away, how these monkeys became Homo sapiens like us, right? So many examples available, and this sentence has actually stood the test of times. Right. And in an open market, there are three philosophies which work. In an open market, it's only quality that rules. The best one survives. Right? And as we all know, quality is never an accident. Quality never happens by chance. Quality is the outcome of honest intentions, true perseverance towards a worthy goal. So all these things will contribute to quality. And if we actually want to implement quality in education, maybe all of this has to work. And if you have to monitor quality in education, what are the things we monitor? We have to monitor quality of what is given to the consumer. What is given in terms of syllabus, courseware, material, what you want to teach, the notes, study material, all of this. Quality of how it is given, the services aspect of it. How does the teacher, the faculty conduct classes? Are they regular? Correct? All this interactivity, all of this together will contribute to the services aspect of this product. And quality of where it is given, the ambience, the infrastructure, all of this is going to contribute to quality. And possibly we all need to be aware of all the aspects of quality when we talk about education. And when we talk about product, there are a few things that we need to be aware of what constitute product in an education perspective. The product needs to be well structured, well defined. The product needs to be continuously changing and hence has to be contemporary. Correct? And the product needs to be career oriented to people. So we have to ensure that all the courses, all the syllabus, all the curriculum, all the pedagogy that we have to actually contribute to ensure that a product is updated and has that quality parameter, the big Q in it. And how do we monitor the services aspect of it? The manner in which the product is delivered in the classrooms, right? For which we have to ensure that there is quality in education in every class, every day. Every class, every day. Quality of administration. The experience that the students go through when I have to get a duplicate degree certificate, or I have to get a college living certificate, or if I have to, ask for a reassessment of the mark sheet. That the quality of administration is something which is going to define quality in education times to come as well, and quality of infrastructure. How do I maintain my classrooms? How do I maintain my my laboratories, my library, the corridors, even toilets? But what is going to differentiate the best out of the good ones is what is given beyond all of these. And where people and institutes which are looking at it have started looking at mentoring, they have started looking at placement services and stuff like that, which is beyond it. And hence, a new terminology came up, total quality education. And total quality education comprises of multiple aspects. It comprises of quality academics, quality infrastructure, quality administration, and also quality PR. This is something that institutes will have to invest in times to come. How do I maintain great academics? Apart from the product, I have to ensure that my teachers are motivated. I have a continuous way of appraising the performance of teachers, a continuous way of upgrading the skill sets of teachers, and all of this together is going to contribute to something called quality academics. Quality infrastructure that I have been talking about all this while. And this is something that a lot of institutes ignored for so many years and possibly needs to be looked at in times to come. We'll have to invest in times to come to be successful in quality PR, in terms of local publicity, in terms of strategic awareness exercises, in terms of getting good visiting faculty, effective relationship with industry, and networking with them to ensure that we get the right feedback from the industry to modify our course material and ensure that our students are more employable. To have good visiting faculty from the industry, so who can make sure that students are abreast with the changes which are happening in the industry. Right. Quality administration, how do I define it in one sentence? The ability to provide the right information to the right stakeholder at the right time is a litmus test of quality administration. How do I ensure that I provide this right information? And at times, this is one of the most ignored aspects of most of the institutions, right? What I've seen, which might be true for institutions, and definitely true for organizations and corporates, is lots of problems in institutions happen because of wrong information. Right? Lots of problems happens at the management level because of wrong information. And some of the problems also happen because of no information. If I want to know how many students did not get 60% attendance in this semester, that information is not available to me. If I want to know how many books are missing from the library, that's not available to me. I want to know how many students applied in my institute but did not get admission, that information is not available to me. And some problem also happen because of delayed information. The information has to be available to me at the time that I want it, to be able to take the right decisions at the right time. Right? And this is extremely important, and I believe that, I'm sure all of you agree, that it's not possible to do this without the introduction of technology. Right? So what next? What do we do? So we said that it's almost impossible, if not very, very difficult, to ensure that we provide the right information to the right stakeholder at the right time without the aid of technology stuff. And that's something that technology can help us, help institutes achieve total quality education. Good. There are a few aspects that technology can possibly help institutes automate and improvise their processes. First one that possibly Professor Kothari focused on was going the ERP way. ERP, most of you are computer science students here must be aware of. It is an integrated platform. It's an integrated software which is intended to automate all the aspects of the institute. It's supposed to automate everything in administration, be it admissions, be it library, be it hostel, be it transport, be it HR. It's supposed to automate everything in academics, right from timetable generation to attendance monitoring to notes to curriculum to assignment to examination. And also supposed to automate everything in finance, which is to do with fees, payroll, taxes, accounts, budget, research and grants management. So an integrated solution which can automate all of these together, an ERP solution possibly can do a lot of value add to institutes. And as we are all aware, that such ERP packages today are available to institutes both in the traditional purchase method, where we go ahead and buy that iceberg tip, the package part of it, or adapt ourselves to the modern technology platforms, which are the cloud-based ones, which comes with its own merit. So there are choices, and possibly the administrators can make their own decision based on the merits of the solution. Go to the next one. The second aspect where technology has got a deep impact in the world of education happens to be the way distance education is run in this country. The distance education was perceived with the intended benefit that on-site campuses have got limitations in terms of how many students can I service at one point in time. in terms of how many students can a teacher actually interact with inside a classroom. Since there were limitations, looking at the Indian population, looking at the needs of the rural population, we decided to bring in the distance education, which could work in a broadcast method. But possibly over time, the distance education lost its direction. Today, most of the distance education programs that I am aware of in this country has been confined to student taking admission, some study material sent to them, and the next time the university sees his face is the time the examination is supposed to happen. The student is supposed to become an MBA graduate by reading the books, or become, some of the institutions also offer BTech degrees by distance education. He is becoming a computer expert just by reading those study material. I wish that would happen. But then, technology can possibly bring in a lot of quality aspects into education, in distance education. I've started seeing few university institutions like this Manipal and universities like Karnataka State Open University. I've also seen IGNOU doing a lot of stuff on that, where there's a lot of digital learning material, a lot of video content, audio content, interactive content. All of this available on a portal, on a learning management system, has ensured that the quality of education can still be monitored using technology. Today there are institutes who offer their learning programs on smartphones. What it means to a student is, while I am on the move, I can listen to my professor. I can see his lecture, I can see his video, and listen to his lecture all over again. Look at the advantage. One day before the examination of physics, while the student is actually going through the chapter the first time, actually, right? Most of us do that, right? The one day before the examination, we read the chapter the first time. So, that time, I realized that something is there in that chapter, and it comes down to most probable questions, and I'm not going to fathom what is there. I wish I had attended that lecture. Did it happen to some of us here? Yes. It happened to me a lot of times. Yeah. So what happened is, that time, the technology allows me to rewind the lecture of the professor one more time and hear and see him completely. That's the power of online education, which possibly few universities have already waken up to. Technology-enabled campuses have become the fad of the day. Most of the brochures that I read today all talk about Wi-Fi campuses. Institutes talk about laptops being given out to students, and government recently talked about the Akash tablet, which talks about one tablet every student in this country. Right? I'm sure technologies like these are going to do a lot of value add. But then, only Akash tablet will not work. The student has to be told, after that Akash tablet, he has purchased it at whatever price, what does he do with it? So unless we have told them, unless we have ensured there's a ERP solution running at the back end, through which the students can actually interact with the institute, or an online learning management system running at the back end, through which I can interact with the professors, see their lectures all over again, upload my assignments, there is little value that Akash tablet can possibly add to all of us. Yeah. And one more thing, which has started changing, is the advent of online examinations. And that's something which I've seen happening over the last few years. Institutes and organizations have started realizing the power of online examinations, where at one end it can completely eradicate the concept of leakages, cheating, all the stuff, right? And at the same time ensure there is a lot of intelligence behind these examinations. Online examinations have today transcended the boundary of only objective type questions. Today it can handle multiple types of questions in terms, including essay type and subjective questions. And there are tools available today, and lots of institutes have started looking at it. And there has been an independent survey. It says that the next few years, almost 5 to 10% of the institutes will start looking at this very seriously. And I remember Professor Kothari talking about the complexity of implementing an ERP solution. And he already scared the shit out of us when he talked about that buying a package is only the tip of the iceberg. Because we all believe that buying the package was the best thing that I could have done while implementing the plan, right? And here, a small story comes to my mind. Go ahead, Pat. Okay, let's take 5 minutes. Have you all heard that story of the hare and the tortoise?
Yes.
All of you get at the back? Kachwe और खरगोश की कहानी सुनिए? Good. So we all knew what happened on that fateful day when the hare and the tortoise ran that race. Right? And we all are aware of the gospel which got written. Slow and steady wins the race. My dad told me when I was young. And so, when my dad told me, and nobody actually changed that sentence for me till date. Still today, I believe, slow and steady wins the race, but the world has changed. Some of you in this room may not be aware what happened the next day after the hare lost the race. Is somebody aware? Good. If there is one guy who is not aware, I'd like to repeat it. The next day, the hare felt very insulted. He knew that the tortoise won just by accident. Had he not been sleeping, the tortoise would never have won the race. Correct? And given a second chance, he knew that he will never sleep. So he told the tortoise, friend, let us run the race all over again. Smart. Let us run the race all over again. Looks like first time you won by chance. Tortoise was not the one to give up. He said, okay, done. So a new venue was selected, new set of judges, and a bright sunny morning, the race started all over again. The hare ran at the top of his speed the way he did for the first time. The tortoise kept on moving at its own pace. But this time, the hare was completely watchful. He did not sleep. And hence, he reached the finishing line much before the tortoise reached there. And the gospel got rewritten. The fast and steady wins the race. Did you hear that?
Yes.
Some people are saying yes, some people are saying no. The story सुनने के बाद सब लोग हाँ बोलते हैं. But then there was something which happened after that. Tortoise ने बोला, यार, now this is draw. One, you पहला रेस मैं जीता, दूसरा रेस तुम जीते. So let's now run the decider one. Correct? इसमें जो जीतेगा, he is the final winner. Here said, perfect. There's no way I'm going to beat this. So, a bright sunny morning, a new venue was selected, a new track, new set of judges, the race started all over again. The hare ran at the top of his speed. The tortoise kept running at whatever speed he could. As the hare was sprinting on the track, he reached a river. He reached a bank of a river, and the finishing line was beyond it. He kept scratching his head, how do I do it? He doesn't know how to swim. He sat on the banks and kept on thinking of different ways to cross the river. Do I throw a log? Do I use a rope? How do I actually cross the river? As he was thinking, the tortoise slowly came and reached the bank. He saw his friend sitting on the banks helplessly. He got into the water, started swimming. He almost reached the center. He reached behind. The hare was still sitting on the banks, completely dejected. At this point, the tortoise felt very bad for his friend. He came back and told the hare, friend, sit on my back. The hare sat on his back. They both ran the race, and both of them won the race. The gospel got rewritten. It is neither the fast nor the steady. In today's work, it's only teamwork which wins races. Why I told you this story? It's interesting because in today's world, trust me, for whatever little experience that I have, it's not simple, it's not easy to bring in those changes that we all talked about, and then to implement in that system. For all of your professors and principals who are available in this table, in this auditorium, trust me, everyone will agree with me when I say that it's one of the most Herculean tasks in terms of implementing ERP. And some of the surveys tells me that more than 65 to 70% of ERPs in this world fail. Even packages like SAP fail almost 60% of the time they're attempted to implement. So what do we do? So maybe in the new world, we need to look at a lot of teamwork. I think there's something called a concept of managed services, and I have a small video to show you. Go back. Click on that. Click. Have a look. Is it click? Okay, there's no mic here. You have a hand in the mic? What is not coming around? What is not? So it talks about a managed services model. So it's there's a break there. So it says in the traditional times, while somebody decided to implement an ERP solution, he only thought the top of the iceberg, which is buying that ERP package. Once he started implementing the ERP package, he realized that there are lots of hidden costs behind this. The cost of the hardware, cost of application software, things like the operating systems and those databases and stuff like that. Things like antivirus software, firewalls, internet bandwidth, payment gateways, and whatever cost yet fantasized at the beginning of the ERP solution possibly started rising as they started implementing the solution. And then he also realized that apart from all these costs, he has to ensure that he has a team of people continuously working to ensure that the ERP is successful. Customization, changes, adaptation, all this adapt core programming that Professor Shantanu is talking about. These are all continuous expenses. Ultimately, at times it happens that even the CEO or the head of the organization, the vice chancellor, loses his patience, says that enough is enough, let me go back. Because there are few terms in the IT industry which lots of people have not understood ever. There is a term called TCO, total cost of ownership. We all talk in seminars, but nobody knows what the definition of it is. And second one is return on investment. Nobody knew how to calculate it. Right? So, these are all terminologies which are well taught in seminars, never implemented, because nobody understood in an ERP solution what is the total cost of ownership. Is it the cost of the hardware? Is it the cost of software? Is it the cost of manpower salaries that I am paying? Is it the cost of lost opportunity? How do I calculate the total cost of ownership? And if I have to get the return of investment, how do I calculate that? It's a very, very complicated scenario, and hence, at times, it can become a point of rejection. Hence, the concept of managed services and cloud-based services came up, where there are service providers who would offer the entire platform on a business outcome basis. So the vendor comes across and says, I'm here to implement the entire platform. I will take care of the hardware, software, firewall, network, whatever that is, and ensure that the ERP is implemented. Only if the ERP works, you will pay me, otherwise don't pay. So people who are ready to partner with the university in the entire automation process, partner in the true sense, so that He even puts his finance inside, he puts his team inside, and he's ready to gain if the university gains and to suffer if the university suffers. That's the true sense of partnership. Right? And there are partners, there are vendors, there are service providers available who work in this managed services model. And we have a few perspective around it. We thought that the traditional mode is a slightly expensive model because total cost of ownership has got lots of hidden costs around it. Whereas the managed services cost was, there's nothing hidden. It's like SMS service, right? I'm not bothered what goes behind the Airtel servers. I'm only bothered about cost of an SMS. That's it. There's so many complex things which happen behind it, but I'm not bothered about it. Right? So the managed service model is completely like an SMS service. So the vendor puts in all the infrastructure, puts in team, everything put together. Only the fees and receipt is coming online, which was promised to me, I'll pay. Otherwise I don't pay. If my salary slips actually become online, I pay. If my students can actually access that content online, I'll pay. Otherwise I don't. Correct? It's a completely business outcome based, platform driven business model. It also releases the university and organizations from the issue of coordinating with multiple vendors and ultimately consolidating the service with one vendor. What? Thanks so much. I think I've already surpassed my time. Thank you so much, and thanks all.